Thank you. Because this is a very serious moment of our day. We, as many of you know, or all of you should know, in August of this year, one of the most important people in the history of finance left this world. And today, we are dedicating this entire event to Muriel Siebert, and have the great honor of having Ms. Koplovitz, who is a pioneer and an amazing woman in her own right, founded Sci-Fi Channel, founded USA Networks, sat on the board of Liz Claiborne, was the chair of the board of Liz Claiborne, and many other companies, small companies like Oracle and CA Technologies. So, and obviously founder of Springboard, of which Crowdnetic is a part. So since we're running late, thanks to the men, I will let Kay take it over and dedicate this.
It is my great honor today to really pay tribute to Muriel Siebert, Mickey, to all of us who knew her well. She is a legend on Wall Street. Even most of the guys in this room must know who Muriel Siebert is, because she's such a wonderful spirit who has really empowered many of our careers. And, you know, we all have a story. Every person in this room has a story. I would say that Mickey's is magnificent. I mean, who would know that someone starting out of Cleveland as a young woman, $500 in her pocket, a broken down Studebaker to drive, and a dream to come to New York and find her mission in life. Little did she know that it was going to be Wall Street when she arrived. I'm going to have her tell her own story in a few minutes in a short video. But let me tell you what's really important about Mickey, to me, personally. Mickey has inspired so many women to reach higher, not just in finance, in women in all different kinds of businesses across continents. It's amazing. If you're not in those networks, you might not know her impact on the lives of so many women. Yeah, she broke barriers. All right, you know the story about having to buy her own seat and being the first woman to buy a seat on the New York Stock Exchange in 1967. It was to her great disappointment that 10 years later she was still the only woman with a seat on the exchange. But that she was undeterred in everything that she did, not just on Wall Street. She went to, clubs where women weren't allowed, spoke at the Union Club. However, she couldn't take the elevator up the stairs. Just imagine yourself, imagine your story, if that happened to you. You're invited to talk somewhere, but you're not allowed to take the elevator because you're not allowed in the club. She has to sneak in through the kitchen, climb up the back stairs, and give her talk. To the credit of the guys who were with her, they came down the stairs with her on the way out. But she broke barriers, and Mickey always broke glass. I must say, she inspired many of us women entrepreneurs, but I think I'm going to let her tell a little bit of her own story and tell you later exactly how she inspired us at Springboard to reach higher on behalf of women. Oh, no, not that. What happened to our video? It's the video of this. Okay. The video should be up. Oh, okay. Sorry.
I had to have two languages. If I was dealing with the trader, every other word had to be a four-letter word. So I learned that language and still use it. I was great at math. I can look at a page of numbers and they light up and tell me a story. Growing up, I was visiting New York and I visited the New York Stock Exchange. We were on the balcony looking down at the floor. I said, this looks exciting. Maybe if I come to New York, I'll get a job on Wall Street. And I came with a used car and $500. I was an analyst on a salary, but at the same time, these institutions were giving me orders. And I had a following, but I got about 60% of what the men got. I asked one of my clients, what large firm could I go to where I'll be paid equally? And he said, don't be ridiculous. You won't. Buy a seat, work for yourself. My application turned the street upside down. And they said, we've never had a woman apply. Nobody would dare to apply. I was creating something no one had ever done before. Some of the men thought a woman had no place on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And yet there were men who bent over backwards because they saw I was serious and I was doing the job and I wasn't there to play around. The toughest trader said to me, I really enjoy when I call you and give you an order. And I go home at night and I tell my daughter and my wife. We were opening doors, and the doors have opened and opened dramatically. Women are coming up very fast in running money. When I was growing up, money was not a proper subject for ladies. They don't talk that way today.
So let me just say, thank you. That's the Mickey that we, those of us who knew her well, love. But let me tell you a little story of my own with Mickey, who I've known for many, many years and could tell many stories about. But she was the chair of the National Women's Business Council, which was a presidential appointment before I was. And I thought about doing it when President Clinton asked me to do it, but it was really a reporting structure, and that's not me. I'm a big thinker. I like to build big businesses. I want to see people build big businesses. And I thought, gee, that's just not big enough. If I go there, if I do that, I got to do something big. So I went to talk to Mickey about what was her experience. And she said to me, Kay, for someone like you, I wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it unless you had something really big that you could do. And I said, she's speaking to me. It's something I really love. So I did think about what that could be. And I started looking, this was 1998. Do you all remember how much money was pouring over the transom in the late 90s? I mean, you had to drink it from a fire hose, right? I mean, I'm looking around the market, and I'm going, I didn't really know. I just had I was getting out of USA Network, which had built a multi-billion-dollar business, and I was looking for something new to do, and I'm looking at all this money pouring over the transom, and I'm saying to myself, where are the women? 1.7% of venture money, $100+ billion of it in 1999 went to women. 1.7%. That's pretty pathetic, isn't it? That's what I thought. And I said to my colleague, Amy Millman, we got to do something about this. We got to go to Silicon Valley, and we got to find some women in technology and life sciences and big company, starting small, but they're going to be big companies someday. We got there, and people said, you'll never find them. They don't exist. In fact, as the venture capitalists told us, they never saw them. Just like Mickey said, nobody ever applied. Well, that was the same story then. Women weren't applying. They didn't know where to apply. They weren't in the network. So we said, we've got to try. So we put out applications in 1999 for women-led companies in technologies, software, e-commerce, biotech, diagnostics devices, potentially high-growth businesses. A week before the applications were due, we had 50. And we thought maybe they were right. Maybe there aren't enough. A week went by, 350 had arrived on paper. We thought, paper? Oh my gosh, we're going to have to look at all these. We were fortunate to have the students from Berkeley and Stanford work with us to get down to 26 companies that were presented at a venture forum in Silicon Valley at the Oracle Conference Center on January 27th, 2000. And the only difference in that venture presentation from every other one was that all the presenters were women. It had never happened before. Ripples went through the economy, went through the venture community. We continued on that year, even though the tech market crashed 60 days later. We kept going. We went to Washington, D.C., we went to Boston. In the intervening years since then, we have done 25 venture forums, have seen almost 5,000 companies. We've brought 537 companies to market. It's an amazing track record. Here it is for you to see. These 537 now, from 27 companies, have raised over $6.2 billion in the marketplace. This is in the venture and early stage market. 146 of these companies have had liquidity events for their investors. They're good investment vehicles. 80% of these companies are in business today since 2000. You'd find somebody else that can meet that record. I don't know of any. It is amazing. Lots of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs created. 10 IPOs. Talk about the public markets for a moment. You know, out of that first class in 2000, 5 IPOs out of that first class. Here they are. You know some of them. You certainly know Zipcar, Robin Chase's company. You probably know Constant Contact. 51 Job was the first IPO. 51 Job is the Monster.com of China, a huge HR firm. Viacord, Xenogen. You see, these are biotech firms too. Those aren't the only ones. Here are some more. Whoops, what happened to our other slide? Well, there are 5 more, and I'm not one of them. So there are 5 more IPOs, but we're talking about public markets today and the confluence of crowdfund and public markets. And let me tell you why I think it is really important that we have this movement towards more democratization of capital. And the reason is because for women entrepreneurs who have not really been core in the market, we have very big companies that are being grown out of our basket of companies today. But if you don't know them, I'm telling you, they're hiding in plain sight. You can find them. You can find them at Springboard Enterprises and a lot of other initiatives around the country. But why is crowdfunding important to these companies? More transparency, more democratization of capital means more access to the capital markets. And I'm sure when David Muriel was talking about the IPO market, I am sure that especially our life science companies, which are 40% of our basket, are going to take advantage of early IPOs in the smaller marketplace. And I want to see that happen, so I want to support what he's doing. I want to support the democratization of capital for our companies. Loyal 3 is a company, not a Springboard company, but a company that I like to promote because they are in the IPO market where Main Street meets Wall Street. They did part of the offering for the recent AMC public offering. And if we got more of this democratization of capital where Main Street can actually buy into IPO at list price, at issue price, I think this will open up another part of the market, and retail perhaps can return. These are very important to the women entrepreneurs that we have. So I'm here to say I'm really supportive of what we're doing here today, to tell you a little bit about the Springboard companies, and to pay great tribute to our mentor, our leader, and one who's inspired us all, Mickey Siebert. Thank you.